Hello, y'all. Christian White, the One Day at a Time Dad, continuing on with Listening to Learn, a series designed to bring lesser-known voices and some more well-known voices with the hopes that by learning about each other's stories and journeys, we can find some solutions to the common problems that we all face. Today, I am with Troy, a.k.a. Trismatic. I'm in Springfield. You know, I want to try to travel as far as I can. So my first question is, tell me about the Six.
Well, the Six, the Six is a movement that me and some business partners had conjured up based on.
What is your business, by the way?
Well, I make music, man. I'm a rapper, man. That's what I do. You know, I've been doing that since a kid, and now it's starting to really take off and like getting some real backing behind it. So, our thing was, this is an untapped region, you know what I mean? Everywhere else is blowing up, and New York's and down south and West Coast and all of this. But what about us? Well, it felt like we're the forgotten when we're the really actually the start of this whole nation.
And when you say forgotten, you mean in terms of New England itself, or specifically Springfield?
Nah, I mean all of us. I mean, what do people really know? Well, like Boston is the capital. We all know that, but what's it known for, like, throughout the world? But sports, like, we got a deeper story. You know what I mean? I met a lot of good Boston people from upstate, and they got a real story that's bigger than just sports. And I don't want us to be known as just, you know, that's just the sports center. Oh, the sports is cool and all of that, but we're people. We're humans. We got stories. We got lives, and grew up in different communities where we met a lot of people, lost a lot of people, but we all got a story to tell. Where's our story on the bigger map? You know what I mean? That's what Unite the Six is. It says we're going to start these college tours.
And what is the Six itself?
The Six is the six states
of New England. The
six
states of New England, okay.
The 6 states in New England, that's a big region. That's a big region to tap. You shouldn't have to go outside of your region to go and blow up. Like, you know, people always say, oh, you got to go to Los Angeles, or you got to go to New York. Nah, why can't we tap these 6 states and unite them and throw those on our back?
So how do you sort of go about, so let's say you're a musician, I'm a musician, I'm from Connecticut, you're from Mass, we don't know each other, but, you know, how do you go about breaking the ice with dudes who may have been in the streets? Now they're trying to do the music, or they're halfway in, halfway out, trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. How do you go about kind of breaking the conversation in terms of what you're trying to do with that movement?
And it's funny that you said it, because the person that my rap partner, we've been doing our thing, putting it together for like the last 2 years, since 2018. We both have a mutual friend that knew each other, and they said, I need to unite y'all two together, because y'all are will be a powerful team. We met each other, and we both said the same thing, like, yo, I don't really get along with too many people, because it all starts from a spiritual place. You know what I mean? Like, what we're trying to do, it's not about making a lot of money and just living lavish and all of that. And it's like, it's a mission. It's like a mission sent from God. Like, yo, you gotta do what you got to do to fix whatever the hell you can fix in your immediate environment. So me and him met, and it started off with beyond the music. We was talking about each other's life. Where are you at in life? Because I don't want to just pull you in because you were good at making music. Like,
tell me a little bit about that. When you say the life part, as opposed to, I know you can make the music, but there's more to
my thing is, this is why I've been trying to tell people, because they always ask, yo, why don't you just be out here and squashing this and that? Yo, that's not my whole objective. I got a story. I got a vision behind what I'm doing, and it starts with the human on the inside. Who are you on the inside? A lot of us are broken. I want to fix some of that, because I know what it feels like to be broken too, you know? And the music, that's the thing that keeps us all going. No matter how you feel, sad, happy, angry, whatever, there's some music that you need to turn on to push you through that. It's like your theme shit, your theme music. You needed to push that through. That's what I use music for. No, some people use it just for selfish reasons. So when I met Audemars, we had that talk in my living room at one of my old houses, in one of my old apartments. We talked about that. It was like, what are you doing it for? We both played each other music. Oh, you nice, you nice, you nice. But our thing after that whole, the happy feel went away was, all right, what's your mission? Why are you doing this? Because I really don't like a lot of people's stuff, because I don't like what you're talking about. That's going to get you to prison or get somebody else to prison. I don't want to hear that stuff. You know what I mean? our music, we're relating to each other, but now we're trying to figure out who we are on the inside. Like, who is this cat?
Why is it even so? Let's say I'm a lyricist, I can rap. Who cares about all that other shit you're talking about? Why is it important for somebody to get to learn themselves?
Because you have to know your purpose. If you don't know your purpose, you're just going to be spinning around in a rat race. And then sooner or later, you're either going to burn out or get popped out. One of the two. If you don't know yourself, you don't know where the hell you came from, you don't know why you're here right now, and you don't know where the hell you about to fucking go. And me, personally, I need people around me to know which way they're going in life. After doing all this prison time, I just can't be floating around with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I can't afford that.
How much time did you serve?
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, they give me 10 in a day when I was actually facing 40 to life. So that's why I'm so purpose driven. Because I didn't get that 40 to life. This is it's like a rebirth, a second chance in life. What are you gonna do with it now?
How did you spend your time in prison?
For the most part, all I did was read books and stay to myself. I had a little job, little part-time job, and go work out. But for the most part, I read books, more books than you could imagine.
And what would be some of the things you read about?
The first book that I read, I was always a reader, but I had stopped just to run around in the streets, and that comes from losing your way, and where the prison helped me backtrack where I veered off and went down the wrong road. My thing was always looking for knowledge, and nobody like in my media environment had any knowledge. Any knowledge they had was always something bad. You know, and I got tired of that. I'm like, there's good knowledge out there because I'm hearing it through music and seeing it on TV, movies, and all of this stuff. Why can't I find it here? And why the hell am I finding it in prison? Oh, this is where all the knowledge is at? You know what? Let me take all of that and bring some of that back. And what book started that for me was Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Very well-known book.
Yo, I didn't know how well known the book was. It was the title when I was leaving the prison library. Me and my boy just went there just to get some fresh air, whatever. So I'm looking at all of these titles, looking through all of these books. I couldn't find one.
Really quickly, I just wanted, so when he says, I mean, a lot of people know, but in case you don't, when he says they went to the library to go get some air, that just means they took a movement to leave out the unit.
Yeah, leave out the unit because you
Okay.
get tired of just sitting there in that one spot. So we just go in there. Half of these dudes don't even want to read a book. They're just going just take that one walk from point A to point B and just get a little bit of fresh air. I actually went because I actually wanted a book. I was tired of being in the unit, talking about nothing, watching these movies, knowing all this real life stuff is happening and got to go to court in the morning and this, that, and the third. No, I need some book knowledge, man, because these people are about to try to smoke my boats. They're trying to give me 42 to life. I need to understand why this is happening. What's going on? So I seen that title right as we was coming back to the unit. I did not want to leave without a book. I felt, y'all, I swear on everything I love inside of me, if I left without a book, that was gonna be the biggest mistake I'll make. Because it wasn't too often you would get that library move to make that move. It wasn't like an everyday thing. So I was like, yo, I have to leave. They're about to close the door on me. I just seen that one title, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is the one. Boom. Check it out. That book changed my whole life and sent me down the corrected my whole brought me right back to where I started from as a little kid.
What was it about the book itself?
It was a self-help book, but the first chapter, this guy's talking about raising his son. And his son's playing baseball, this, that, and the third, and he's coaching his child on from the stands and all of that, but he is doing it in the wrong way. He's not teaching his son how to be, this key word that stuck out was proactive. He was clapping for his child, all the things you would want to do as a parent. But towards the end of the chapter, he's like, that wasn't going to help my son. Just by like giving him what he wanted to hear. He needed to give him the food that he needed to hear, not what he wanted to hear. That's what proactive did for me. It was like, all right, this is, you're in prison. This ain't where you want to be, but this is where you are. Now what are you going to do?
Yes.
You're going to keep, I know how it feels. You're the judge and the DA and this and that and the third, but you're here now. Forget all of that. It came, it happened. This is it. What are you going to do now? You can either blame people for the rest of your life or just say, you know what, this is my baggage. Let me throw it on my back. Bang. Let me analyze it. boop. Now do something with it. And take it as far as you could take it. And that's what I did. That was my first start with the books. After that, you couldn't talk to me about nothing unless you had a book for me. When I finally went upstate, whoever had the books, I was at that dude's cell. I heard you was the guy with the books. What you looking for? I don't want no that fictional. I don't want that. I want the Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X. I want that. I want the Assata Shakur books. I want this. I want that. I need the science books. I need the cosmology books. I need to understand what's going on in this goddamn reality that we are in. And I need it from every culture. People don't understand how deep I went into it. Y'all went from the church to the mosque to the Buddhist temple to the Rastafarians to the 5%ers I went there from reading about all this stuff myself, and then actually going to these communities in prison and sitting with them and spending months and time just to digest it all. All right, this might not be for me. Boom. Let me go here. Let me go to the mosque. Let me go sit down there with them. Let me kick it with the imam and all of that. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I took what I need from that. Let me go to the Buddhists, through my Cambodian dudes and all of that. Boom, sit with them. I'm already reading Buddhist stuff, but let me come and sit with them to see how they go about it. It's different from reading it than actually engulfing yourself in that environment. And so I had 10 years. That's all I did. It was like a science project for me. Prison's supposed to be a bad thing and make you just all messed up. I took it like the fullest advantage possible. And that's from being in Norfolk. It's like a community away from a community. So it's more like a college setting. I was like, you know what? That's perfect. That's where I need to be. I accepted my 10. There's no more blame now. You're here, do the best you can do. And there was so much in that one goddamn prison that people was overlooking. I said, I'm about to juice all of this. I'm gonna get all of this because it's gonna help equip me for when I get out in this goddamn world, this free. Now I know what's going on. I know myself. I know what I want to do. I know where I came from. Now I know where the hell I'm going. And a lot of people are not fortunate enough to get that, you know. Luckily, I got it. And you got it.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm glad I got something.
Yeah, because we're not going back. We're not going back.
Are you a dad?
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
I have one.
One.
I got full custody of my son. He was adopted and everything.
Wait. So tell me about.
See, that was a whole other process.
Well, yeah. So start from the. Had you been in his life the whole time?
Yeah, but I hadn't seen him in that whole. I only got one visit, the whole bit. One visit, and that's where a lot of the reading and the studying come from. Because coming home from missing that much of his life, I never wanted to be one of the dads where I didn't have an answer for him. So while I'm here, I'm soaking up as much because I never wanted my son to say, Dad, what's this, that, and the dirt? And I couldn't come up with an answer or know where to turn to find the answer.
So when did you come home? When were you released?
June 26, 2012.
And you've been home since?
Yeah.
Case free?
Yeah, case free, probation free. I don't have no parole, no nothing.
What was it like? Tell me about what it was like trying to build a relationship with your child while trying to get back into the swing of things once you were released.
It was difficult because
you just brought up something about adoption. I don't know if that ties in.
It was difficult because I knew I had to explain all of that to him. They didn't know how to without making it sound so harsh because his biological mother's not in the picture. And I didn't want to have to tell a young kid, well, the raw truth.
When you came home, did you step right into single fatherhood?
Yeah, I came home straight to it. That's a whole nother story. I might save that for a book or something like that. Or I put some of it in my music.
So give me a small glimpse of the pressure of trying to. Okay, so let me back it up.
Okay.
First of all, what did you understand a dad to be before you became a dad?
Everything that I didn't have. It's somebody that provided for you, somebody that looked after you, somebody that helped you to develop to be what you were supposed to be. Like whatever you feel you want to be, let me help bring that out of you. That's what the word education means, you know, and its root is to bring out of somebody. That's real education. I had to pull it out of him so he could know himself. I didn't never have that. They always would try to teach you what to be. Be just like me. This, that, and that. And no, I don't want to be like you. And I don't want my son to be like me because he's his own person. You know what I mean? It's easy to come home as a dad and your kids start following you, you know? The beauty about, and it's kind of harsh, but when you look at it from my perspective, it's not as harsh as you may think. The time away from my son helped him identify himself, come into his own. It's different than if I was always there the whole time. Most of the time your kids are going to just do what you do, and he ends up just like, oh, you're just like your father. I never wanted that. I never wanted that for my son. I want my son to be him, because being like me, man, it wouldn't have turned out good, because you would have spiraled off into other arenas and areas that you don't want to go through. I've been through them. I don't never want my son to go through those. You're going to learn about them from hearing about it, but I don't want you to physically go through those. You getting shot at and this, that, and no, not for my son. You know, luckily he had some good people to take him in. That was like family, and they live a whole different lifestyle in a different environment.
Was he adopted at birth by a family?
No.
So explain that piece.
It was it's gonna go deep, but I'm trying not to go deep. But it was already talked about with my son's mother and a lady that's like an aunt to me. She was like an aunt to me since I was young, a real little kid. She's like my mom's best friend. And it was always talked about that if something ever happened, that she would step in. And something happened.
And why was there even the need to talk about if something might happen?
Because of my son's mother's past, or how she was raised. She was raised like us, to a degree, a large degree. You know, I don't want to go into her whole story and stuff like that. But
at that time,
yeah,
I'm assuming that you were kind of ripping and running the street at that time.
Yeah, at that time, I was trying to stop. Like, yo, we need to stop doing X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 and get back on the right track. You know, it just, the way things turned out, it was like, it was moving too fast, and it was like kind of too late to put your foot on the brake, you know? Man, it's
so
man,
your mom and your
subject.
aunt. I understand.
I talk about it later, but as far as right now, this is my first time on camera and stuff. I don't want to go too deep.
No,
but it
I
goes
get it. I get it. I'm just glad you mentioned it. I mean,
no, it's deep. It's deep.
So let me ask, what was it like on a day-to-day of running the street?
See, my running the street was different than everybody else's, because I never really wanted to get in trouble. I was just looking for following people and looking for answers, because people had more family than I did. So I would always just step out, go to this person's house, go hang here, hey. We just out there with no cause at all. But my main thing was I'm trying to look for answers, because they're not in my own goddamn house with my little close unit family.
And what were some of the questions that you were looking for?
One thing I never had was, I never had a lot of male influences around me. My dad, I knew of him, but I wasn't raised with my father. You know, I had a stepfather.
Where did your dad grow up?
No, my father grew up in New York.
Okay.
My father's side of the family, they're from New York, but they all moved, went back down south where my grandparents are originally from.
Got it.
You know, so they're all down there now, but growing up, they were always in New York. You know, it's I never had what a lot of my peers always had. They grew up with dads and uncles and some type of male. I never had that. I have an older brother, but he's 3 years older than me. Only difference between us, he went the right route. I went this way, but I went this way because I didn't want to settle for the things that the 9 to 5, this and that. I don't always want to be the business owner and this, that, and the third. You know, chase your own dreams instead of working for somebody else until you're 65. You know, I couldn't live that life. That wasn't for me. I got too much inside of me. I need to do things on a big scale. That's just who I am. So I would run the streets looking for things that can help assist that, because we don't have nothing. When I say Springfield has nothing, dude, they have nothing. That's why we're in the parking lot right now. We don't have nothing, and it's just I never understood why it's that way. And if it has to be this way, well, why the hell did God put me here with all these big dreams and all these ideas and shit that I got? Why not in LA somewhere? All the things that I want to see. Why I'm here, you know what? Because you're from New England, and New England's got a big story to tell, and it's a hard story because we're the beginning of this whole nation. If you want to look at it in a historical context, we're the start of this shit, so we have to be the end of this shit. Especially with all the shit that's going on now, with this COVID and all this Trump stuff and all of that. Now, we got something to say at this point now. It's our turn to say something. Yeah. That's where Unite the Six come from. Plus, we have all of these universities up here. That's a lot of young minds that we need to tap. And the best way to tap them is through the music. So now we can create a bigger dialogue.
Why do you think so many young people are drawn to music and making music?
I mean, it's just a see, when I was upstate, I was doing I was taking college courses, and they gave me a college course that I really didn't even want, but turned out to find out it was the best thing for me. It was cultural anthropology, understanding the different why societies and cultures develop the way. One common thing that we always have is music. Life is music. You're always going to have music. I don't care what it is. Everybody, we need it. It speaks to us.
Do you think music, matter of fact, I want to follow up on that one. When you said that you would go places looking for answers, what were some of the questions you wanted answered?
My thing is, real talk, are we keeping 100? It all started when we was young, when I was like 5 years old, and we was forced to go to church. And my grandmother was in the church. She belonged to the church. My aunt belonged to the choir of the church. And we were living with my grandma when I was young, so we were forced to go to church. And a lot of things just never made sense to me. I was always a Michael Jackson fan since Thriller when I was young, and all of these little Disney things that he would instill into the little kids always stuck with me. And I'm like, well, why do we have these ideas to create a perfect society when all this bad shit's happening? And then all these grown people would always tell us, well, God want it this way. Well, I need to talk to him. I don't want to sit in this building. This building is irritating my whole things. I want to go see this person. And if we can't see this person, we got to look up to the sky. Well, then send me up to the sky, because I got questions that human beings can't answer. That was my biggest thing. With the whole God concept. I need to talk to him because this life hurts. It hurts like on a I don't want to be here type. It hurts. And that's how I was as a little kid. That's why I was always quiet and standoffish, because I'm just like, I was always one of them young people that always studied my environment. Why are people sad? Why is people broken? Why are people arguing? Why are people shooting? Why are people stealing? That's the type of brain I had as a little kid. I started understanding why by being in prison and reading all these goddamn books. Why it's this way? Who made it this way? And all of these different little nuances and things like that. That's why Unite the Six is very important right now, because all of these young kids from Connecticut universities, fucking we got mad colleges, universities out here in Boston. We got Boston College, Boston University. Man, we are a hub of knowledge. We need to tap into it with these young people, because these young people are the new leaders of the next generation and the generation that's going to come behind them. We need to get with them now. They're going to be the new scientist, the new politician, the new this, the new that. There's so many up here that nobody's even trying to unite them to get them to sit down. You got MIT, you got all of these different... Man, do you imagine what could happen if we could have like a big conference with all of these students? And man, I see something big with that in our region.
So let me ask. So, Springfield's no different than Boston, no different than Hartford, and none of these cities, Providence, whatever. How could you use the music to unite two people who share beef, who have murders in their past, how do you begin to use the music to help bridge some of that, to reduce some of other violence?
This is how I did it, and I did it in Springfield. Like, I got a little young team that I keep around, and they're all from different sets and stuff, but they're good-hearted people, and I believe that they've done something that I haven't seen done, especially in this region. You got young people that are running with the Bloods, young people running with the Crips, GDs, Latin Kings, Nietas, all of them. And I got all of these young people together and look at each other like, We're not even enemies. Like, if we knew this history,
How'd you do that?
I know a lot about history. I know about how a lot of the origin of a lot of things. That's what I did in prison. I didn't want to just know about things. I wanted to know about where did this start from and why is it on the planet? So I did that. That 10 years is a lot of time. And if that's all you're doing is studying, I probably could have went to a 4-year university 2 times plus 2 more years on top of that. That's how much shit I got up in here. And a lot of it starts with knowing the history. If you could pinpoint the origin of something and showing how this is the same as this, forget what happened later down the line, bring it back to its root, man, all of this stuff is connected. And unfortunately, some of us have to go to prison to discover that, because they don't let you talk about that when you're in university. That's why I stopped doing the college courses, because they were trying to stifle how much I can learn and how much I could talk about. I was like, you know what, I'm doing the Kanye West college dropout, because Boston University is in MCI Norfolk. You can earn a master's and all that up in there. Man, I didn't even want to do that because I was doing the continuing education. I was getting courses from Colorado State.
Okay.
So I'm doing this through the mail in prison, and I'm getting great. Yo, the college professor said, yo, you're getting greater grades than people that are actually in my classroom. But one assignment, I forget what it was about, but it just put a bad taste in my mouth, because I got so much knowledge already that I'm going ahead of what the course is actually asking of me. So he starts like trying to check me, like, oh, you can't talk about da 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 da. So I'm like, wow, even in college, where they tell you to go to be the best you could be, that's even stifling you too. You know what? I don't want none of this. Give it all back. I'm gonna study as much as I can and build it from the grassroots up with people like you. Real talk. All of these places, they try to tell you to be the best, and even colleges will stop you. That's why it's good for us to get with these young people that's in there now, because they're gonna get stifled, and they got too much knowledge right now. These young kids growing up in this day and age, right now, whoo, they got a lot.
What kind of dad are you?
Everyday dad. My son's around every day. He lives with me. So
tell me about your parenting style.
My parenting style is I don't force things on my son. He's just naturally a good kid, period.
How old is he now?
He's 17.
Okay.
He was turning 10 when I came home. My thing was to figure out who he was instead of trying to force him to be what I want him to be. Because that was my whole life. I've been tied to the system since 13 years old, in foster homes and all of this stuff, where they're trying to mold you into what they want you to be. And it's like, you know what? This is why I'm the way I am, because you're trying to mold me in something that I'm trying to fight against. I'm rebelling against this because it doesn't feel right to me. I know what's right for me. But they never, and this is where I learned this, they never want to sit down and listen to your side of anything that has to do with you. I learned that from being in the courtroom. From sitting in the courtroom, watching them push all these goddamn papers, DAs and all these people, telling you who you are, what's your background, and how you grew up. All you had to do was come to me and say, what happened? They never do that, and I refuse to do that with my child. Yo, that's about to bring a tear to my eye, because it's so real for me. I want my son, tell me who you are. What do you like? What's your dreams? What do you like? Don't like what I like because I like it. And we go from there. All right, when he laid it all out for me, all right, now I'm gonna help you. Where do you want to go with all of this? Now that I know what you got in here, all in your spirit and your heart and in your mind, where do you want to go in life? And I'm just here to assist you to go there. I'm not here to force you. I'm not here to do none of that. My role as your dad is just to guide you to go there, to the best of my ability. That's it. I'm that dad.
What do you do to kind of stay on point with your own mental health, like now?
It's funny because and this is the thing, but a lot of people try to get out of me. You know what this is. I need cell time. I find cell time in the free world.
How do you do that?
That means I need to pick a room in this house, no matter where I'm at. I need a room when I get a little bit too overwhelmed with some things. Yo, just let me sit in this room for a few hours by myself. I'll read a book. I'll do things that I did in prison. to keep it. It like being in the hole. Like, I'll throw myself in the hole. But people are like, why are you like that? I was like, I learned that's my time of meditation. You know what I mean? That's my time of calm. This is my time to collect myself and, you know, to reassess. Why am I so agitated and what's causing these things? And you learn those things in prison. And the reason why you learn them, because all of that talking and all that shit will get your chin checked or worse. So you have to use your vocabulary and use your analytical skills and all of that. You're forced to be a respectful person. Everybody is the same up here, and you don't know who's who, and you got to show some respect up here. Those little things, I took those back to the world, and that's why everything that I do now is so impactful. Because they're like, damn, where'd you get that from? That's missing. That's what the young people are telling me now out here. We've been looking for a person like you. That's why we out here gang banging, doing this, that, and the third. I'm just like, yo, you know what? I know what you're talking about. That's why I'm dealing with y'all. Because I know you don't have nobody like that out here. That's why I refuse to give up on y'all. Because I know you don't have nobody, because I didn't. And luckily, you ain't been where I've been. And my goal, again, is to guide you from not going that route. You know? And it's hard when it takes people like us to like kind of step in to rectify this. When you have all these politicians, you have all of these different community places that don't do nothing for nobody. You got all of these places, all of these spaces. What are you doing with these spaces? Where's the community center? Where's the free studio for the brothers to utilize their skills? Where's the dance free thing? Everything costs, and the city makes so much money. Where's all this money going? Is my main issue. Whose pocket is that lining? Because this building, that building, that could have been a studio. That could have been this. All these kids would have been off the streets. That's what I'm trying to do with the music, with the whole Unite the Six thing. We're speaking of issues like that, to what's going on in the prison, and how we reach back and, grab each other's hand, man. That's the only way shit's gonna get done. For real, for real. Just the same way you reached me to do this right here. We need more of that. We need everywhere. And my goal is to have it everywhere in New England first. Because I refuse to leave abandoned home to go start somewhere else and then have to come back home. Nah. We got too much power here. We all reach out. Springfield reach out to Boston. Boston reach out to this. We reach to Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island. Yo, a lot can be done.
I agree.
We got the manpower. We got the manpower. It's just about pulling it all together, and we can't depend on those people to do it for us. It has to be grassroots, from the ground up. Controlled by us, for us, and by the people, man. That's the only way it's going to get done. And there's no better time than right now. What's going on in the world? Because now people want to hear what we got to say. But they want to hear it 2 years ago when everything was cool. With all of this pandemic and all that, now people want to hear real stories and real solutions and stuff. So it's time to push the pedal to the metal right now. When I'm in a good space, man. I'm in a good space to do a lot of things, man.
Good.
Yeah, we're gonna shake it up, man, everywhere, man.
Agreed. I totally agree with that. Growing up, did you have a concept of a healthy relationship with a woman?
Yeah. Any woman that I've been with would tell you that, because I grew up with nothing but women. Same way Tupac grew up, all these women and their mamas and all of that. That's how I grew up. That's why my balance was found in prison, because that's where all the men was at. All the father figures, all the grandfather figures was right there. That's what I needed. I never had that. No, I had my grandfather when I was young. He passed away when he was young. My mother doesn't have any blood brothers. All her brothers are people that she knew since she was a little kid. So I always got little street uncles and people like that, but then they're not my blood family. You know what I mean? I have a good relationship. I got 2 sisters. I got massive nieces and aunts and no male figures. Just me and my brother. Now we got all these other little kids, so we doing what we got to do to give them what we were missing.
So I mean, it sounds like you're saying pretty clearly that possibly had there been sort of a male influence a positive influence
Mm-hmm.
early on in life,
Mm-hmm.
your life would have been totally different right now.
That's a fact. That's a fact, because that's all I was looking for, was that father figure. Like, I have some friends that...
And this is you looking for a father figure, even as an independent force in the streets.
Yeah, I went to the streets. I went to the streets. My whole thing was I was always looking for the Cosby life. Like the Cosby Show. You got the mother, the father, they own their own house or whatever, and you got your siblings running around. That's all I ever wanted. Was that. The Cosby life. The normal, standard family. We always had a broken family. You didn't realize it was damn broken until you go to freaking prison. You don't even realize it's broken. You realize it's something missing, but you don't know what is missing until you end up in a situation like that. It's like, damn, I needed an old man to talk to me like that. I remember, dude, Kevin Scott, never forget him. He did one of the best things ever. He was the first dude to look out for me when I went upstate. I was very unapproachable. I was very standoffish. He didn't care about that. I'm standing there, the new guy, in the doorway of my cell, watching everybody have wreck and all of that. Kevin looking at me like, yeah, what's up, angry dude? I'm about to come up there. I'm like, yo, please just leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. I'm coming up there. Here comes this nigga. He about to fucking piss me off. And you know what? He did the opposite of that. Here's a fool. You ain't got shit. I know. He just spoke to me so real because I used the N-word well. I don't want niggas to talk to me. First off, I ain't no N-word. We gonna nip that in the bud off top. I'm like, wow. In my head, I'm like, wow, I never had nobody talk to me like that.
How long had that brother been down for?
He was 20 years. Like, one of them dudes, man. Yo, like, he talked to you like your father. Like, you know what? You ain't gonna call me that again. That's first and last time you're gonna do that. I was like, you know what? In my head, I had to respect it because he didn't say it in a vicious manner. He said it like how your father would say it to you. We're gonna stop that now. I'm like, wow, okay, boom. Here's some food. I know you're angry. I get it. I was young when I came in too. Here's some food. Here's some magazines. Here's a radio. I'm gonna check on you tomorrow. Did that again. Then the next day, he was like, you know what? I'm about to go home. You have to make up your mind what you want to do, because you can't be running up and down these stairs with all of this negativity that you got. This dude over here wants to kill you. This dude over here wants to kill you. This dude, let me take you to the yard. They told me to talk to you before they do something to you. That piece woke me up so much. Because you think you so bad, you so Billy badass, there's other people around you that's badder than
Just
you.
as bad,
and it be people that you think won't do nothing to nobody because they're quiet. That gave me a whole new outlook on everything. Oh, they're just like me because I'm quiet as hell too. That changed everything. He made sure I went to school, got my GED. This is when I'm 20. I just turned 21. And he took me under his wing, but he didn't have to. That's the blessing. That's why I try to be on a positive, as much of a positive force as I can, because that dude possibly saved my life when he didn't have to. He cared.
He cared.
You see, I'm about to break a tear in my eye.
Well,
again.
I think honestly, what I felt when you had started was when you said, you know, you were in the doorway watching everybody.
Yeah.
And you said something like, what I got from it, paraphrasing, was like, there was a wall up, like you were unapproachable.
Yeah.
But at the same, behind that wall, you were telling them, come on.
Yeah, but it gotta be real.
But on the other side of that wall, nobody can see that.
Yeah,
it's like a two-way glass at the police station.
Exactly.
You're looking out and you're like, y'all don't see me? How fucked up it is?
Yeah.
And it's like, but you're right. It's like when someone takes that time to care, it don't matter where you are, whoever that person is. Like, that really hit me because that was my struggle, was trying to break down those barriers just to let people know I'm not as hard as you think.
Wow.
Like, I want some affection. I want
That's what I learned. That hard shit is really brokenness behind all of that shit. I see through all of that shit with everybody and penetrate straight to that.
Yep.
Because Kev did it with me. So I know it's all right. I know it's not just unique to me.
Do you think the average person that does not involve themselves in the street at all is simply just frightened to walk up to a young man and say, how are you?
Yeah, of course. I know that now. I learned that from being on that tier when people were saying, when you got to clean yourself and you got to get the mop bucket and all that. Yo, let me get that after you, brother. Just seeing the camaraderie and the politeness of people. It was like, damn. In the streets, I would have thought he was unapproachable and the person you couldn't talk, that he didn't have a nice bone in his body. That dude is the most politest dude that I know. So I know we could do that, and that's what I'm gonna start doing through the music and through these videos and stuff, showing them that other side, so people don't have to walk past your brother with the ice grill. You know, say what's up to him, because he might have had a hard day just like you had a hard one. And that little bit of smile would have set the whole goddamn day off. And it's all right to do that. It's cool to do that. Like when I first started hearing people say, yo, peace, brother, peace, brother. Yo, that felt so much better to me than all of that negative, the negative talk that we was accustomed to growing up. I'm like, yo, we gotta take some of that back and bring it out in the streets. It kind of felt like, to me, because a lot of them dudes were in their 60s and stuff. That's why I hung with the most. If I hung with anybody, it was always the old people. The old man that was marching with like Martin Luther King back then. I stuck with them people because I always wanted the knowledge. But the way they would talk to you was different than somebody that was a peer to you. Yo, what up, my nigga? What up, all of that stupid, all of that corny shit. They let you know, yo, you're a human. Let me talk to you like a human.
So how?
And that felt so much better, because that's all you all you wanted your whole life, was somebody to treat you like a fucking human being.
Yeah, I agree. So you're in prison, you're reading all these books, you're learning all these new thoughts and perspective. You come home. How do you transfer that sort of resting knowledge as you build it up from a place where you can't put a lot of it into action? Once you come home and you're trying to adjust to life, you're trying to take care of your son, you may be looking into a relationship, you may be trying to help your mom, I mean, whatever the case may be, how the fuck didn't you just stay who you were before jail? How did you make that transition into every day my thought process is this? You know why? When it used to be.
You know what it was? You just took off the social mask. The mask that you was, this is who the hell I was this whole goddamn time. You was a kind person. You was the loving person. You was the person that had compassion and emotions. You learned that shit's cool up there, because you wearing that social mask and hiding behind it is what got you here in the first damn place.
I want to make very clear
that everybody out here wearing a mask.
The one thing that I rather enjoyed about prison was that there was no Halloween.
Yeah, you couldn't do that. I mean, the Halloween is what would have made you not come back home. Somebody would have killed you up there. With that bullshit. Yeah, you couldn't go up there with that bullshit.
And to interpret that, basically, you're gonna be you, no matter who you are. That is coming out.
You have no choice.
No choice at all.
And luckily, mine wasn't too harsh, because everybody knew. No, I'm not one of them dudes who run around trying to be the tough guy, listening to that. I'm the cool dude. I'm the dude that cares and shit. Now I know it's okay to be that. So when I come back home, I'm gonna be true to that. You know what? And that shit commands a lot more respect.
Yo, it's so, I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because when I try, anyone who knows my story knows that when I revealed that I had been sexually abused, it was
that's a deep topic up there. I got exposed to that too.
So I wrote a letter to my uncle, to my aunt actually. My uncle came and saw me, and I was in Old Colony, and this was like 99. So it was much different than it was today.
Yeah.
And here I am in a visiting room full of killers and thieves and, you know, all type of businessmen. And I was telling my uncle the story of what used to happen to me, and I started crying. And I wasn't bawling, but the tears were coming, and I wasn't bothering to stop them. I had to get that out. And it was so interesting to me that the dudes in the visiting room all came over, and, you know, they're like, you know, what's going on, white boy? They used to call me white boy at that time. They were like, what's going on, white boy? You okay? Who is it? Who do we need to get?
Right.
Because that's their way of showing love. But what really struck me is out of all the stories I had heard about upstate prior to going myself, I saw that when I expressed that emotion, they connected to it and they wanted to help me.
Yeah.
And that was and I mean, I still did much more things from that point to the point where I am now that got me into trouble, but it instilled in me that the one world that shut me out, which was mainstream society, I went to the street world, was totally accepted. The only thing that I wasn't accepted for was the emotions that did not involve rage or anger or hurting somebody. But when I went upstate and I had that very emotional moment, and I couldn't have helped that if I wanted to. It was those stone cold killers and everybody that came to me and said, "Look, if you need to talk, come and talk, man."
Yeah. See, and then in Norfolk we had that program. It was an inmate ran too. It wasn't the administration. It was ran by inmates. The young fathers and family awareness. Those programs is the first time, like what you just said, the molestation thing and all that. I never personally went through that, but to see how many people can be open about it in that setting, like, it threw me back. I'm like, yo, that's okay to talk about? Like,
yeah, and like, yo, let's be clear. The mental health professionals in prison, some are good, most are garbage.
Trash.
They go by an assembly lining system.
Yep.
One clinician could be seeing 100 dudes. Yeah. All they have time to do is say, are you gonna hurt yourself or someone else? No, then you're sane. So we have to find ways within this very limited environment, if we want better, to find ways to do that. And I want people to be very clear. There are many men and women in prison that are in there trying to be the best versions of themselves they can possibly imagine. Let's make that very clear. And all it took was people to just see somebody just break down all their barriers and this is who I am, this is where I'm comfortable, this is my story, and it inspired more people to do that. And I first seen that in those programs, the Young Fathers program and the Family Awareness. And I was like, and it's all inmates. It is no administrative people there to, like, yo, this is us doing it. Us, because we care about each other. And I seen brothers up there hugging, crying because you went through something, and he went through the same thing. I was like, wow, only if the streets can see this, how much that would turn everything around. That's what I'm trying to do now that I'm free. I want people to see that now. I'm gonna end it there, man. I don't even think we could talk all day, but that
we could, man.
I appreciate this. How can people find you?
You can find me. You can find me on Instagram at Trizmatic413. From there, you'll find me anywhere else, or you could just Google it. TRIZZMATIC.
Perfect.
It's
Yo,
easy.
I appreciate this. I appreciate being able to talk prison because so much of my life was spent in prison, and that's never going to change.
You know what's the worst prison? This whole world is a damn prison. A lot of people don't see it, and it's the worst prison. Yeah. Because your mind is more imprisoned.
I agree. I totally agree. And it's good to be able to share stories about those days, because often, you know, prior to the last and final time I went to prison, I was still dibbling and dabbling in work, but I was still very much involved with the streets. So, you know, coming up on the 29th will be my 5-year anniversary of being home. And no cases, not even a thought of a case, not even a thought of wanting to do a crime. And I think what I appreciate being able to talk like this is when I'm at work, when I'm in certain areas, I'm totally legit now. Most people I work with can't relate to me at all.
I know.
And to be able to carve out a time to be able to be like, it's interesting because in prison, let's say something really violent happened and we laugh over it. We see the joke in it, but a lot of people can't. But we see hilarity in the circus.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to people. So when I get to be able to kick it about that, it's like a part of therapy for me.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because my lady says that all the time. Why are you laughing? And I'm not laughing to be laughing. It's laughing because I see the circus.
We see it differently, man. Once again, appreciate it.